The Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 1 Battle Pass is getting leaked more every day, with this ranging from the free rewards, skins or other cosmetics contained throughout the 100 levels of which were initially revealed to. We're not only going to be giving a full showcase of that, but also all the other updates that could be influencing what these cosmetics are within Chapter 4 that will honestly blow your mind, that we've been waiting for quite some time. Subscribe right now to never miss any other videos like this, considering 70% of all eyes on screen right now haven't clicked the button yet. In the prior video I asked you guys to name this on screen right now, so here's a ton of comments on screen that got that right. Today, however, I want to know the name of this, so make sure to leave it down below in the comments, and if it receives a heart, you'll most likely be shown on screen in the very next video. So to see that as soon as it's uploaded, don't forget to leave a like in this video, subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on so that you can be one of the first to see. And last but not least, before we hop into it all, huge shout out to everybody rocking code FM1 inside the Fortnite item shop, literally one of the shortest and easiest codes to enter, only 3 digits long. But with that said, enough time's been wasted, let's dive into everything we know about the Chapter 4 Battle Pass, so make sure of course you don't go anywhere.
I'm sitting on my back.
With creative becoming such a big part of Fortnite, you guys are gonna love Yahaha, who are kindly sponsoring today's video, being a brand new UGC user-generated content creation platform for 3D multiplayer interactive experience. Literally, with Yahaha, anyone in the simplest way can create and publish their virtual experiences without coding experience or server knowledge needed prior to it. To make the process even easier than it already is, there's tons of available templates, components, and smart assets in the Yahaha studio to make your dream games. From loading it up, you can see it's as easy as this, as I'm going to create my very own hide and seek map to play with my friends. Either way, from loading into this straight away, you can not only go ahead and play, but as you can not only see, I'm editing the map itself, or it gives me the capability, and with this map being hide and seek, of course, from walking into props we can transform into them, which also allows you to add your very own through the components once you've selected an asset. Personally, I thought this looked like either a dog or a pig, but according to this, it's a cow with a description about each individual asset before you select them or put them onto the map. To ensure I can transform into this as a prop and actually hide from other players, I now need to go to the components section within the asset library and select this, allowing me to then transform into it once applying it to this particular prop. From starting or testing the game itself and running over to my prop now, boom, from walking into it, I'm now transformed to hopefully hide away from my enemies when the time ticks down, claiming the victory. It's a no-brainer, download Yahaha now using the link at the top of the video description down below or in the pinned comment, and make your very own unique experiences to play with your friends today. So now diving into everything Chapter 4 Season 1, firstly, it looks like the event or the release of next season is not going to be delayed at all. For those that don't know, initially the Fracture Live event or Chapter 3 finale got announced at FNCS Invitational, happening December 3rd, 2022 at 4 PM ET, with all the other time zones on screen right now for where you might live, or you can compare one of these time zones to where you actually are, with Chapter 4 Season 1 being added to the staging servers, meaning these dates aren't going to be moved around at all. So yes, this is definitely going to be going ahead December 3rd, this finale event leading into the next season, or next chapter should I say. Despite the current Battle Pass obviously stating that the last day of Season 4 is the 2nd, this could very well mean we're in for an interesting day, not only the day of the 3rd overall leading up until the event, but of course with the event happening. In terms of when it does go down, or when we get sucked into game from this animation happening in the lobby, obviously putting us in the specific LTM waiting for it to occur, which for those that don't know, the chrome background is actually one of the tornadoes, but simply in the lobby that data miners have managed to find. Speaking of what data miners have managed to determine or find themselves, despite the event timer being added into the lobby very soon, around 10 days usually away from any live event, ticking down until 0 seconds, 0 days and 0 hours. Here is where it's going to be in game. I know a lot of people thought it initially would be above the 0 point, with this being a large factor involved in, well, potentially having not only the Chapter 3 islands sucked into it, but all 3 islands that we've ever seen: Chapter 1 Athena, Chapter 2 Apollo, and Chapter 3 Artemis. Of course, this is determined by the free reward we get for attending the live event on the day of it happening before it does so. Literally every single player, if they wanted to, can go into the Fracture Live event wearing the 0 fragment back bling, which is important in itself. As for those that don't know, this was the whole purpose of the Fortnite x Marvel Zero War comics, with the Fortnite characters going into the Marvel universe instead of like Chapter 2 Season 4, the Marvel universe coming to Fortnite, or Marvel characters. This was all in search for the 0 fragment or 0 shard, which this back bling happens to be. More interestingly, of course, is what it shows on the 0 fragment itself, what seems to be like 3 islands being pulled into the 0 point, which we know from the event tags that got leaked, these early spoilers for the event itself, but don't reveal too much, that the 0 point is going to be sucking in all of Artemis or the Chapter 3 island terrain, and then unloading it and colliding with other things, which many people believe could look like this in some sort of scenery or cutscene, this particular image which Donald Mustard a while ago had as his banner. Despite this, of course, being 2 images joined together to give us a perspective of the outskirts scenery from the 0 point, point. Another data miner or leaker managed to have AI generate the rest, and how cool does this look? I hope we do see this during the live event itself. After all, Paradigm not only revealed it's the end of this reality in the recent Paradise voice recordings, but also that we'll lose in the battle by stating the following out of all of it.
Reality as you know it is going to end. I know it's hard to understand why we need to keep fighting, especially when we won't win.
And once this happens, of course, we're going to be going into not only an extended downtime, but one that has a storyline related minigame instead of the minigame like we saw in the black hole of the Der Burger, which supposedly, according to Hypex, is going to be storyline related somehow, if it is something that actually contributes toward the startup of next season, perhaps, like the short interactive cutscene or cinematic we could go with when starting up Chapter 3 from the end event, putting us on a raft in the water slowly washing up to the Chapter 3 island, and then, well, this interactive cutscene being once we washed up onto it. As you can see, data miner PQ also managed to state you'll be able to equip a cage saddle, you'll be able to search small/big snow piles, and you'll be able to focus at the 0 point, and there will be some kind of race tag happening during the pre-show. Some of these code words are very interesting now. Before we move on to the battle pass skins, I just want to briefly mention them, as cage, saddle, more specifically saddle out of this coding, for those that don't know, could be referencing considering we can ride animals, and flying animals not only got leaked this season, but also potentially we may get our first look at what these creatures are, whether it's dragons, flying clombos, or clombos with wings in this particular downtime minigame. After all, it mentions snow piles too, and ultimately this is what clombos were under when they were hibernating. Even in the desert biome, this is what it looked like in replay mode. And then even more interestingly, at the bottom of the tweet, as you can see, it states race tag, which obviously doesn't seem too new considering we've had races with different vehicles like the cars in Fortnite or any type of land vehicle. Speaking of riding animals though, just in case you've forgotten, no, I don't mean flying ones, but the ones we literally have in game now being boars and wolves. As these got updated in Chapter 3 Season 3 into the game, along with this came many coding specifically surrounding motorcycle vehicles using the same mechanics as riding animals, looking very similar in terms of how we mount them. Does this mean we're going to be seeing motorcycles as a vehicle in Chapter 4 upon its start, and if so, like the skateboard vehicles or skating mechanic that was leaked, could we be seeing these too? Or instead of motorcycles being a vehicle predominantly, could it simply be a traversal emote like the one we've got for Deadpool right now, this mini kind of little scooter? Of course, this is a concept that my thumbnail designer put together, but I think this also alongside the addition of these vehicles in Fortnite would be really cool. Another huge addition coming to Chapter 4 that perhaps is even shown in the Battle Pass trailer firsthand is first person. For those that don't know, this got teased or shown possible to us the players in Fortnite as early as the Chapter 2 Season 2 device live events. Despite seeing glitched out early gameplay of that right now that wasn't meant to be, believe it or not, Epic Games have been working on it throughout several updates of not only last season but this season. I'm just saying, considering we not only got Zero Build in Chapter 3 Season 2 being a brand new diverse way to play the game, fingers crossed at the start of this next chapter this time, instead of the second season in it, we do get this first person mode. With us now moving on to the battle pass and cosmetics contained within it though, speaking of the device live event too, a character that may be making his return after all this time of us believing he was dead, as not only did he get eaten by a shark but also then reappeared as the undead version of himself, or a shadow, in Chapter 2 Season 4's Midas Revenge Fortnite Mares event. If it wasn't already obvious who I'm talking about right now, it's Midas. The paradigm in the recent voice recordings implies this, as not only does she go on about a loop breaker project that Jones needs to get the files for that he thinks is confidential, but they aren't, which could obviously mean no other than Midas, as he literally constructed a doomsday device to try and escape or break the loop, which he successfully did for certain moments, and teleported us in the event to our first look or interaction with Agent Jones in the office. Players are now starting to believe that this is what the top secret files were for the loop breaker project, despite him obviously thinking that it was strictly confidential. Despite this directly corroborating Midas into the storyline, thus meaning he could be an upcoming skin or different variant of him in the Chapter 4 Season 1 Battle Pass. For those that have been living under a rock, this cosmetic was also leaked in the 22.30 second to last update of Chapter 3 Season 4, implying that Midas will come into contact with the now spread of the chrome on the Chapter 3 island, as of course this spray, despite literally being called silver and gold, shows Midas' hand being consumed instead of doing the consume in instead of gold, the silver or chrome. And with Cypher PK saying he has a feeling that Midas is going to be making an appearance in this chapter's finale with him having inside information, it realistically makes sense, and all things point towards not only Midas being involved in the ending of this chapter, chapter, but again a battle pass skin in the next, perhaps entirely consumed in chrome like you're seeing right now from going into a tornado, or from simply throwing one of the chrome things on the ground so we can turn into a chrome substance or look entirely engulfed in it. Of course, with Midas now directly fitting into the storyline though, another character or entity that we've been anticipating for literally all of Fortnite's story history lurking in the background right now is the Nothing. Of course, this entity or whatever it is that actually speaks to us during Byte's quest has been more so at a forefront this season, with us finally hearing the voice of the Nothing for the first time. With this being the case, and with Fortnite recently releasing yet another skin survey, many players believe these last reality looking skins, specifically this one, to be the Nothing if it is to be upcoming as a particular character. Of course, it's largely possible because of this, like the Herald was introduced this season to end off the chapter for a start of another chapter, or what's caused its end could be a skin involved in the next battle pass. The next skin, however, speaking of this season and ultimately next, for those that can't remember, before it released chapter 3 season 4 it got determined by insiders and leakers that Gwen Stacy would be in this battle pass. This was then confirmed prior to the release of the season, with this particular teaser of Gwen Stacy's hand coming out of the chrome alongside the other battle pass skins. At this time, data miners were 100% certain with their inside information too that Miles Morales would be rotating throughout the item shop during this season as Gwen Stacy appeared in the battle pass at level 100. I can categorically confirm right now this won't be happening. He won't be an item shop skin this season, as he isn't encrypted or decrypted as a cosmetic in the final update 22.40 within chapter 3 season 4. Does this mean then, considering the Spider-Man skin that released at the start of chapter 3 in season 1 around this time last year is one of the top 10 or most popular skins even used this season, that Miles Morales, because of solely, well, this is in the next battle pass, as Epic Games have realised or recognised it will be a huge selling factor for it? For those that don't know, we do typically get around 7 or 8 outfits within every battle pass as a solid rule since the battle pass began in chapter 1 season 2. The last time we saw 0 collabs or a non-collab at all battle pass, believe it or not, was chapter 2 season 1, reversing those numbers for the chapter and season. For this reason, of course, it's a no-brainer we're going to be seeing at least 1 if not 2 integration or collaboration skins within the chapter 4 season 1 battle pass. The other one potentially upcoming, which is more so teased this time around as it's the only Marvel character from the Zero War comics to not be a skin within the game, is Shuri. With the recent release of Wakanda Forever, where she literally becomes Black Panther, with her and Jones in the Zero War comics seeming to have a deeper connection than just battling against the Imagined Order, honestly I wouldn't be surprised if she visits from the Marvel Universe Reality Zero to come and help Jones in this final battle, or appear because of it once chapter 4 starts within the battle pass. Whilst we're on the subject of the Imagined Order, of course, being defeated in the Collision Live event, with Zero War literally giving us a different perspective than the one we played in, despite it confirming yes, Jenno was the father of the Imagined and also the Order, with the reveal of Jenno for the first time in only this comic book form, believe it or not, from taking a look at this skin and looking at certain features such as the chest plate, from applying this to Fortnite skin surveys, as you can see, there are 2 selectable styles for this particular skin, Jenno or his younger version, as we have different variants of him teased in Dr. Sloan based loading screens. Usually when there's more than one variant of the same skin on a survey, it typically means it's upcoming in a future battle pass, just like potentially these different variants of Sloan, 2 of which are on here, as some people again in the Collision Live event don't believe Dr. Sloan to be dead from being slammed down on, as she closed the lid just before this happened from the mecha team leader's hand touching it. And of course, don't forget, every time you enter the 0 point or jump through it, you get or create a different snapshot of the same character, so this could also be how she's reintroduced as a forefront of the storyline, perhaps on the side of Jones and the Seven. And from taking a look overall, just scanning the skin survey that Epic Games recently released, despite others obviously not having all skins released off of put into Fortnite already, as we've already discussed, this 0 point looking image that Dolan Mustard had as his banner but then obviously changed, if we match up the aesthetics of this, actually directly lines up with a 0 point looking character on the Fortnite skin survey itself, this one that also I believe because of this could be, if we see or encounter this particular scene in the Fracture Live event, a chapter 4 season 1 battle pass skin. Whether or not this is the customizable skin with many or multiple ways to do so, kind of like the Maya skin in chapter 2 season 2 that data miners have been able to find will be an upcoming cosmetic in chapter 4 season 1, other than weapon modifications potentially upcoming, having weapon charms finally added literally in the game's files or worked on since chapter 1 season 9, I guess we'll have to wait and see until after the black hole like state we're going to be going into for Downtime, lasting around 16 hours, then of course lifting some time on December 4th, the day after the Fracture Live event occurs, chapter 4 season 1. Despite the file size for this event being a lot bigger than most other, if not all other, of the live events we've ever seen occur in Fortnite, although it will never match the original hype or interest in Fortnite around the time of the initial black hole or end event of chapter 1, this of course doesn't mean it can't have similarities to this event itself, and well, what if I told you it does, as the sound effects from going in this lobby animation into the LTM before the fracture event occurs, this is directly identical to what happened, or the sound effects played when going into the black hole at the end of Chapter 1's end events. And now finally, with us mentioning earlier also in the video that Chapter 4 Season 1 is now on the staging servers, meaning nothing's going to be delayed and everything's going ahead as planned. It's only a matter of time, in my opinion, as this happens every season, that one of the big companies, of course, that provide it on their particular platform or game console / service, Fortnite, that one of them, of course, updates their particular promotional or artwork asset kind of thumbnail overview of what the next season will be looking like earlier than they perhaps should. I'm honestly just hoping though, like Fitzy states in this tweet, that the entire event doesn't get spoiled, the ending of this chapter, by, well, a TikTok ad published kind of carelessly. Drop a like on the video if you're excited and are going to be attending the event, and make sure to subscribe to the channel right now to lock in your position with your game not crashing. In terms of where you go to now, make sure to click this video I've specifically picked out for you on screen, so feel special, but most importantly, hopefully I can catch you in the very next upload I do post on the channel.